Call the meeting to order. A few minutes late. We had some issues with personnel we were talking about. Sorry we were late. We'll start with roll call, please.
Mr. Kuchenauer?
Yes.
Mr. Harshman?
Here.
Mr. Lake?
Here.
Mr. Martre?
Here.
Mr. Martucci?
Here.
Mr. Mongeau?
Here.
Mr. Renzi?
Here.
Mrs. Sangston?
Here.
And Mr. Panzel?
Here. We can stand for a moment of silence and the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the treasurer's report. A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the payment of the general and federal fund bills.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to approve the payment of the cafeteria fund bills.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment for agenda items. We have no public comment for agenda items. We'll move into athletics, please. Mr. Renzi.
Thank you, Mr. Manzella. Request approval to accept the resignation of James Bigham, middle school head football coach and middle school assistant wrestling coach, effective immediately, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Eric Painter, middle school assistant girls basketball coach, contingent upon being hired as middle school head girls basketball coach, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following supplemental contract for the 2022-2023 school year, contingent upon receipt of the signed contract no later than 1 month after issuance, including the posting of the position if the contingency is not met. Jason Etley, varsity girls assistant basketball coach. Tim Ulrey, middle school girls assistant basketball coach. And Eric Painter, middle school girls head basketball coach, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of Aston Primus, volunteer varsity wrestling coach, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Anything to add, Mr. Martucci?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Sangston? And Mr. Evans? That's all we have, Mr. Panzella.
Thank you, Mr. Renzi. Moving to buildings and grounds, Mr. Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval of the following additions to the substitute custodial list for the 2022-2023 school year. Eric Johnson and Theodore Kramer, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to award the bid for the visitor bleacher painting and bathroom renovations at the Falcon Stadium to John D. Conomus Incorporated, Ridgeville, PA, in the amount of $491,679.68. The lowest responsible bidder meeting specifications to be paid from the capital projects refunding account. And Mr. Witt, could I add to start as soon as possible? Could I put that on there?
Yes, he said that's
And I'd
fine.
like that added, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. Mr. Lake, before we vote, you just want to tell them, since we did, that's going to be the entire project. We're doing the entire student side, correct?
Absolutely. That's underneath, on top, the restrooms, Mr. Kirsch, is that right? They're doing every single thing of it.
Yes, sir, and the start date will be August 15th.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
10C is request approval of the following event and building use requests subject to adherence to the district's health and safety plan and all applicable state and federal laws and orders, including any mandatory or recommended cancellations, rescheduling, or postponement, and on the condition that requesters provide an event or use-specific health and safety plan acceptable to the district. Any rescheduling or postponement shall be the sole discretion of the district and under such terms and conditions as may be set forth by the district. And I'd like to spread 1 through 12 on that and to, as part of the motion, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And I'd like to, Mr. Panzella brought this up Monday night. Please be aware, we're not going to accept these if they're out of date. Make sure you get these requests in before the date. He brought it up, and I think the whole board feels the same way. We have to know. And that's all I have. Mr. Kokenar, you have anything to add? Mr. Martucci? Mr. Kirsch? That's all we have, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lake. Just to touch on, thank everybody we voted on that renovation on the other side of the student side. I know that it's going to be a large project. We may have a little bit of inconvenience for that side, but it'll be well worth it, whatever inconveniences that it does cause. And it's good that they can start right away so we can get the project moving and get it completed as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Moving to Carnegie Free Library, Mr. Mongeau.
We have nothing this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mongeau. Moving to Connellsville Area Career and Technical Center, Mr. Kochnow.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. 12A, request approval of the memorandum of understanding between Connellsville Area Career and Technical Center, the Bureau of Career and Technical Education, BCTE, regarding the TAP Technical Assistance Program for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
12B, request approval for Ron Berry, Protective Service Instructor, to attend the Personal Protection Consultants, Inc. Recertify Instructor Certification Training for 3 months, 3 program certifications, Clarendon County, CTC, August 15th through 17th, 2022, at approximate cost of $1,400 for resident registration, lodging, meals, and travel. Bid amount number is 1380-580-000-39-00-17, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Panzella, Mr. Lake, Mrs. Sangston, Mr. James.
Nothing else. Thank you, sir.
That's all we have, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kochnow. Moving to curriculum, Mr. Harshman.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval of the college and high school agreement between Westmoreland County Community College and the Connellsville Area School District from August 1, 2022 through July 31st, 2025. And I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
13B, EduLink. Request approval to renew the agreement with EduLink Incorporated for PA ETEP, an electronic teacher evaluation tool to be used to manage the evaluation process for teachers and supervisors at an annual cost of $14,794, and to add support staff license at a cost of $1,500 for a total of $16,474 to be paid from the curriculum budget. And I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 13C is just an informational item. It's the secondary handbook. That's all I have. Mr. Renzi?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Mongeau?
Nothing, thank you.
Dr. Coons? That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Horstman. Moving to cyber, Mr. Martre.
Thank you, Mr. Panzel. We just have one item this evening, MOU addition, request approval of memorandum of understanding between the Collinsville Area School District and the Collinsville Area Education Association for Cyber Services, July 2022 through July 2023, pending solicitor review and approval. I so move.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Coconut, anything additional? Mr. Mongeau?
Nothing, thank
Mr. Ghost? That's all we have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Martre. Moving to federal programs, Mr. Mongel.
Thank you. Item 15, request the approval of the agreement between the Intermediate Unit 1 and the Collinsville Area School District for Title I, Title II, and Title IV services for non-public schools for the 2022-23 school year, and I so move.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 15B, request the approval to provide virtual obvious bullying prevention coach training to 2 staff members at the approximate cost of $8,150 for registration and 2 subs to be paid from the Title IV funds. And I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 15C, request the approval to contract with the American School Counselors Association for comprehensive district-wide training and ASCA national model implementation to support students K through 12 at a cost of $28,161 to be paid from ARPS funds, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 15D, request the approval of the school-wide Title I school plan for Bullskin Township Elementary, Dunbar Township Elementary, Springfield Clifford Fritz Elementary, and West Crawford Elementary in accordance with the federal Title I program guidelines, and I so move.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 15E. A motion to amend the agenda to add the following motion as a result of this motion not having previously been added to the agenda. And the motion is, request the delay of the implementation of Schoology for the 2022-23 school year for 1 year until further training and evaluation is completed. And I so move.
Second. You have to vote on that.
You have to vote first to add it. All those in favor of adding the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
Mr. Coconut? Mr. Horstman?
No.
Mr. Lake?
No.
Mr. Martre?
Yes.
Mr. Martucci? Mr. Mongeau?
Yes.
Mr. Renzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Sangston? And Mr. Pansel?
No.
Motion carries.
Okay. Item 15F, we had a committee meeting that was held July 21st, 2022. And that's all we have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mongeau. I think we're just going to reverse those right here. Okay. Moving to finance. And I hope, just to say this, I hope this Schoology now, we're moving ahead. We've spent probably, I don't know, $200,000 of taxpayer money. Hope we can get this moving forward now so that we see that we've done something with the taxpayers' money. Moving to finance, Mr. Renzi. Well, that's what they figured approximately so far.
For one school year?
No, for the entire project. That's what they have a approximate figure. Finance, Mr. Renzi.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Manzella. Request approval for Joe Duda, actuary, to perform professional services for the preparation of the other post-employment benefits GASB 75 report required by the audit for the 2021-2022 school year at an estimated cost of $3,800 for both the Collinsville Area School District and the Collinsville Area Career and Technical Center, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the attached orders from June 18th, 2022 through July 22nd, 2022, and to authorize the district business office to process purchase orders and payments, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Anything to add, Mr. Lake?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Horstman?
Nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Helms? That's all I have, Mr. Manzella.
Thank you, Mr. Renzi. Moving to food service, Mrs. Sangston.
Request approval to change a 7-hour position to a 5-hour position at the Springfield, Clifford, and Fritz Elementary School. And I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following additions to the cafeteria substitute list for the 22-23 school year. Michelle Gerard and Paulina Owade. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the sponsor-to-sponsor agreement between the Private Industry Council and the Collinsville Area School District to provide meals to Head Start and pre-K students as a taxed agreement. And I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. Mr. Kokenar? Mr. Marchwright?
Nothing, thank you.
That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sangston. Moving to personnel review and liaison, Mr. Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Manzella. And before I start reading, I apologize if I butcher anybody's name. Request approval to hire Jonathan Roth as a long-term substitute for the ELA in middle school for the 2022-2023 school year. And I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Madison Dunn as a long-term substitute for the Family and Consumer Science at the middle school for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Sarah Jane July as an elementary music teacher for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Tammy Nelson, cafeteria worker, to take an unpaid leave until, on, or about October the 1st, 2022, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following additions to the support professional substitute list for the 2022-2023 school year: Amy Kitchen, Abigail Kuzik, Anna Barassi, Bonnie Harshman, Theodore Kramer, and Adrian Neville. And I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following additions to professional substitute list for the 2022-2023 school year: Donna Kopitsky, retired; Brenda Panzella, registered nurse; Jessica Kimball, registered nurse; Melinda Smith, emergency; Beth Ann Martin, emergency; Ashley Black, emergency; and Paul Tressler, emergency. And I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain. Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Lauren Taxacre, aide, effective immediately, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Calvin Trader, maintenance, effective July the 15th, 2022, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Samantha Augustine as elementary teacher for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Marissa Emborski as the elementary teacher for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to appoint Karen Hollis as West Crawford office clerk, effective with 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the employee handbook as proposed for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to appoint Tony Sander as Dunbar Township office clerk, effective for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Tina Dahl as workforce development coordinator at an annual salary of $50,000, effective upon release of employment in accordance with the fringe benefits and compensation agreement for the Connellsville area administrators, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Caitlin Steyer as health occupations teacher for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to appoint Eric Tachana to the interim position of acting principal for the Career and Technical Center and to authorize the payment of $50 per day stipend for such appointee, in addition to the regular salary. Any days beyond the contractual 185 days shall be paid as a salary per diem plus $50 for those days. Worked in the interim position for the acting principal, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to amend the start date for Michelle Lowe, library BCIT teacher, as previously board approved on June the 22nd, 2022, from August the 23rd, 2022 to August the 15th, 2022, as per assignment, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Nicholas Gruber as a long-term substitute for guidance counselor at the CTC for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the retirement of Jane Nicky, teacher, effective October 28, 2022, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to adjust the rate for long-term substitute teachers as follows. Effective with the 2022-2023 school year, $150 a day with individual PPO, health insurance coverage, one semester 6 months of coverage, full year 12 months of coverage. Or $200 a day if declined the health insurance coverage, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Renzi, you have anything to add?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Horstman?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Kokenar? I'm sorry, Mrs. Kokenar.
Nothing else, thank you.
Dr. Bradley?
Thank you, Mr. Lake. I just want to welcome all the newest members, all the newest Falcons to the flock, to the cast. And I know that the board put a lot of time into these newest additions in the Human Resource Department. I thank them for the time and effort. A lot of late evenings with interviews, and it shows you how deep the pool is of candidates that people want to work here, and it's a great place to work. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Denzel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lake. And 18U, we just withdrew. Mr. Martrek?
Thank you, Mr. Panzel.
That's right.
We have some policy, policy.
Oh, that's, I didn't know.
I'm sorry.
Usually you do the retirement. I didn't want to step on your thunder.
I didn't hear it. Oh,
I didn't want to step on your thunder for the retirement, so I thought
I'll
I'd
just wait till the end. How's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to wait?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Lake. Moving to policy and legislative, Mr. Martray.
Okay, thank you. We have policy 808, food services, policy 707, use of school facilities, and then we have in addition, a first reading, request approval of the first reading of policy 520, freedom of speech, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Our policy meeting was July 21st, 2022 at 9:30, and Mr. Mongelli, anything additional? Mr. Harshman?
Nothing, thank you.
Dr. Bradley?
Nothing, thank you.
That's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Martray. Moving to safety and security, Mr. Martucci.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval to appoint Thomas Clark as a full-time security officer at Collinsville Area Middle School, effective August 23rd, 2022, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to appoint Danny Sherbinsky as a full-time security officer at Collinsville Area Senior High School, effective August 23rd, 2022, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the 2-day training course, weapons handling, tactical entry, mechanical breaching, active shooter, from C2 Tactical Training and Consulting LLC, Huntington, PA, at a cost of $7,640 to be paid through the general fund budget or grant funding if available, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was a committee meeting held June 28, 2022 at 4 p.m. That's all I have. Mr. Renzi? Nothing, sir. Mr. Cook? Mr. Parvack, any of that?
Some informational items on the 11th, the 2 days of the president prevention training, was the special education staff, that's the contract, was 24 that's part of the meeting for policy and regulation, review, education of officers, 24 certification training, tools, members program, safety and
Thank you, Mr. Parvack. Appreciate everything. Appreciate all you guys do, man. And that's all we have. Mr. Panzella?
Thank you, Mr. Martucci. I know we're going to stick with you. I just wanted to say I want to thank you and your committee and Mr. Parlak. You guys have done very well at keeping our people with the extensive training that we have. And we should be very proud of our security and all the training that we have been able to offer them. Thank you very much. So sticking with you, Mr. Martucci, on special education.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request for the partial hospitalization services agreement between the Intermediate Unit 1 Collinsville Area School District at a daily rate of $236.88, which is an increase of $11.77, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the agreement between the Penn Highland Center for Autism and the Collinsville Area School District at an annual tuition cost of $50,526.25 per student. $526.25 increase in tuition costs from the 2021-22 school year agreement. And I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the Collinsville Area School District Special Education Comprehensive Plan for the 2022-23, 2023-2024, and 2024-2025 school years, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the Professional Health Services Agreement between Chestnut Ridge Counseling Services and the Collinsville Area School District for the mental health supports for the 2022-2023 school year, paid through ARP, ESSER, and Years 2 funds. And I so move.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all I have. Mr. Lake.
Nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Sangster. Mr. D'Amico. That's all we have, Mr. Manzella. Thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Martucci. Moving to Student Services, Mrs. Sangston.
Thank you, Mr. Penzola. Request approval to enter into the qualified service agreement with Fayette County Drug and Alcohol Commission for the 22-23 school year, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the memorandum of understanding between the Concord Area School District and AGO Health for the Power Up Eat Right Nutrition Education Program effective October 1st, 22 through September 30th, 24. And I so move.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for the Concord Area School District to participate in mental health with all costs to be paid through the Chucky Mahoney Grant and ARP EASER Fund. And I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Michelle Harball, All-Star Chorus Director and All-Star Chorus Accompanist, effective immediately. And I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of David Hart, Senior Class Play Director, effective immediately. And I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation.
Sorry.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Megan Newcomer, Senior High Prom Code Advisor, effective immediately. And I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following supplemental contracts for the 22-23 school year, contingent upon receipt of a signed contract no later than 1 month after assurance, including the posting if the contingency is not met. The High School Art National Honor Society, Melissa Manya. High School Marching Band Director, Jude Gore. High School Second Assistant Marching Band Director, Donald Stoner. Skills USA sponsor, Tina Dahl. And I so move.
Motion to second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the yearly non-athletic supplementals for the 22-23 school year as proposed. And I so move.
A motion to second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following travel. Jude Gore, Senior High Band Teacher, and approximately 59 students will be participating in the Kennywood Fall Fantasy Parade August 13, 22 at an approximate cost of $375 for transportation only, paid by General Fund N-3210-513. And I so move.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. Mr. Harshman, you have anything?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Montiel?
Nothing, thanks.
Mr. D'Amico? That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sangston. Moving to technology, Mr. Harshman.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. 23A, request approval to authorize Van Stream Consulting, LLC, to represent the Collinsville Area School District in matters related to the Federal Universal Service Discount Program, known as E-Rate, as outlined in the attached proposal. This authorization covers all matters related to funding year 2022, 23, and funding year 2023, 2024. The combined cost of these services related to Category 1 broadband and internet access services is $3,500. Cost of these services related to Category 2 internal connections and basic maintenance of internal connections is $3,000 plus 2% of the committed account. And I so move. Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to utilize Upcycle LLC for recycling services for the following and end-of-life technology equipment in accordance with Board Policy 706-1, with revenue amount to be determined. 684 Chromebooks, 42 laptop computers, 30 desktop computers, 4 projectors, 3 printers, 4 monitors, 23 iPads, 2 iPods, 5 docking stations, and 1 TV. And I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. Mr. Martucci?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martret?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Goza?
Yes, thank you.
That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harshman. Moving to transportation, Mr. Kokenauer.
Thank you, Mr. Panzel. 24A, request approval to renew the contract between Kimberly Hawkins and the Collinsville Area School District for transportation services for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
A motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Panzel. Mr. Lake?
Nothing, thank
Mr. Rendy? Mr. Evans? That's all we have, Mr. Panzel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kokenauer. I have nothing tonight under the President's report. Next will be public comment for non-agenda items. Jamie Lambie on class size. We have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jamie Lambie, and I'm asking that you consider smaller class sizes in the primary grades. First of all, I would like to say that I am not one to get up and public speak, but when it comes to my child, I am willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that she gets what I know will be best for her. I also would like to thank those board members who took the time to respond to the email I initially sent. When I signed my daughter up for kindergarten, I enrolled her at Conn Area Catholic School as she did not meet the age requirement for kindergarten at Connisville. After 2 years of preschool, I knew that she was ready for kindergarten as another year of preschool would not benefit her. The numbers at Conn Area became too large for one classroom, so they created another kindergarten classroom. What was that number, you may wonder? It was 25. 25 students in one classroom they felt was too much. My daughter has now been in a classroom of 12 students for the last 2 years. As I have enrolled her in 2nd grade at Connisville for next year, I am now faced with the tough decision to either place her back in 1st grade, since there are 3 classes, move her back to Conn Area with a smaller class, or allow her to proceed into 2nd grade and possibly fall behind because she is in a classroom that is double what she is used to. It seems as though Connisville's classroom size numbers keep increasing and most people keep going along with it. I think it's time that we do what is in the best interest of our students and create smaller classes, especially in those primary grades. Placing students in one classroom where the class size is in the mid to upper 20s creates a challenge for each student as they are each begging for the teacher's attention and have varying ability levels. That is not fair to the students or the teachers. The class sizes may not be as small as those at Conn Area, but they can be smaller than what is being presented, especially since the state funding has increased for the 22-23 school year. The teachers need the ability to work with smaller class sizes to improve the students' skills that have declined since COVID. Having smaller class sizes allows the teacher to get to know each student on a more personal level, as well as create smaller groups within the classroom so that each student gets the individualized attention that they may need, as well as push those students who are above level to the next level. As the class sizes become larger, that individualized attention gets traded for classroom management and the hope that all students are retaining the information that is being taught. One way to help manage the uneven class sizes in the district may be to take a look at redistricting. Redistricting students would create more balance within the district and would make some of the larger classes smaller. This would also make less movement among staff as class sizes may remain more constant within the buildings. Being faced each year with the possibility of a classroom closing does so much to teachers and building morale. As a teacher, a lot of time is spent learning curriculum and planning lessons to then find out you're going to be in another classroom the following year. Again, I'm asking that you please do what is best for these students and teachers and consider adding more teachers in the primary grades to help eliminate the learning barriers placed on these students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That's all we have for non-agenda items. Yeah.
I didn't sign up before because I didn't see it on the agenda. First of all, let me say thank you for all the hirings and trying to fill all the positions that were vacated this year. I do have to say, with all due respect, Mr. Canzella, because I think a lot about you, but I also think it's important for the taxpayers to know that we were previously using a free program that we didn't necessarily have to spend $200,000 on. We've been successfully utilizing a free program for many years. We could have continued to do that. And I'm not really sure if that was a little dig towards us. As the union president, we were not opposed to Schoology, but we were...
It wasn't a dig toward you. It was
Okay.
to let this board know that we've started into it. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not, like, we weren't opposed to it. We're just concerned.
No, you guys aren't opposed to it. We know that.
No, not opposed.
No, I said that you were not opposed
Oh,
to
right.
it. You said that, well, no.
Yeah, we're just concerned. That's all. We want to make sure everybody's properly trained and the implementation rolls out seamlessly, and hope that if this is going through, that can happen, and we can make sure that everybody, including the parents, including the students, have the right training to make this go smoothly.
And we as a board have said that to day one, and I know they're going to yell at me and say this isn't give and take here, so I'll let you go
Oh,
ahead and
no,
move on.
I understand that, but I thought it was important for the numbers, that we could have kept using that free program. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to assistant to the superintendent. Superintendent, Dr. Gray.
Thank you, President Panzella. I had an opportunity to be in a few buildings over the last couple of days, and I want to thank the custodians. Right now, some of the buildings may look in disarray, but within the next few weeks, they'll be put all back together, and those individuals are putting a lot of work in cleaning, waxing, making sure the buildings are ready for our pupils when they come back and our teachers when they come back. And I want to thank them because it's a lot of work behind the scenes to get these buildings ready, and it's appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Martre?
Yeah, I just held off Mr. Manzella that you asked me there. I got to looking over our agenda each month, and sometimes we just take it for granted, these supplemental positions that our staff provide for the students. And just like to thank them for all the work that they do, and it is a great thing for them to do for the kids. And also like to recognize our only retiree tonight, Jean Nicky, thank her for her years of service to the district, and I wish her a happy retirement. And also Calvin Trade for his years of service with the district, and wish him the best. That's it. Thank you.
Sounds like my microphone's quitting. That means the motion to adjourn.